Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Separate Day Challenge, and today we have George W. Bush, the 9/11 interview. Now, this is anything dealing with 9/11 never really has a fun vibe to it, something that you really want to talk about it too much, but this is from 2011. It's 45 minutes long, and it was made soon after it was discovered that Osama bin Laden, the man behind the attacks, had been killed during President Obama's presidency. And it kind of wraps up with that. Just so you know, there's a little bit of closure and an ending to the beginning of this. And honestly, if you know anybody, including myself, who was around at that time, there's some of you, I know it's hard to believe that it's been 23 years since it happened, almost 23 as of this taping. Everybody has a story. Everybody. Just like the generations before us who remember JFK being shot, or even John Lennon, or RFK, or even Pearl Harbor. So there's people who have stories of moments that literally changed the world. And there's a saying that you want to grow up in interesting times, and then there's the reality that sometimes you don't. You really, really don't. And this documentary, this 45 minutes, takes you through pretty much minute by minute in President George W. Bush's experience. And yeah, it's a president who's talking, so the default attitude is they're lying to us. Even more so now today, even 23 years ago, we were just like, it's a thing that performance he's putting on. Yeah, you know what? He's not exactly my favorite president either, but he's, in the past couple of years, he's actually been made to seem like not so bad in comparison. He has received a lot of criticism for the things that were done in those first few moments, but more for everything that rolled out after it, the war and everything else that seemed to accomplish nothing. But whether you like him or not, this is his story in his own words as to everything that happened 10 years after the fact. It took 10 years to get Osama bin Laden. It took less to get some of his main higher-ups and the people who actually carried out the plan, who did not die on those planes, along with the people that they murdered. But it was enlightening. It's to me, this is actually a very interesting tale to hear. If you've not heard his perspective on things, I highly recommend it. It is a piece of history. It is something that a president has never had to deal with, ever. And to say that, oh, well, you know, this is what this guy did so many years ago, and I tried to do my best to live up to his standard. There was no standard. Hopefully, the standard that George W. Bush kept it never has to be repeated, ever. That's the hope. But he pretty much takes you through the first full day, from the moments leading up to it that morning to the moments after it all happened. He was in Florida talking to some kids about education in Florida. Books. Who does that now? So they were, and then he was taken a little bit by surprise. And how would you react in his shoes? I don't care what your politics are, but how would you react in his shoes? And this gives you an insight into what was going on with him and the people around him and his family and the people around the world. But it's mostly very personal. And you get to kind of also see the tactics that are taken in order to keep him safe, because if he dies, then Dick Cheney becomes president, and if Dick Cheney goes, it was probably still Mitch McConnell at that point, because I think he's been in that position for a century or two. Either way, it's a lot. So I say, if you're interested in, you may have seen a ton of other documentaries about everything that happened, just filtered pieces of news clippings and video footage in them, just playing out things ad nauseum. And you probably, if you were around then, you have probably played that story of your experience in your head over and over again, especially if you lost somebody as a result of that attack, more so than anybody else who was traumatized by it. Mine is, I got woken up kind of just after it happened, and I was sleeping in a little bit late, and I was staying with my mom at the time, and I was told, I was staying in a spare room, I was told that it happened, and there was a big screen TV, like just one of those big old deep CRT types, like really big ones, sitting at the foot of my bed in the spare room. I turned it on. I don't think I left that spot except to pee for the entire day, for 24 hours. That's, if you don't know what that experience was, you might have been at work, you might have been at school, you might have been anywhere, hopefully nowhere near the Pentagon or New York City. But so many were. So it's you cannot watch anything related to 9/11 without getting more than a little emotional. Some people get conspiratorial. I get emotional. So be aware that it warns you that there are some upsetting images in this that you may cause a little bit of a flashback. So check it out. I say, if you can handle it, but it is, again, it doesn't focus on the broader angle. It focuses it from the point of view of the man who is the most powerful man in the world at the time. And that's a rare story to get. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 199. Okay. We went from 99 to 199. I do not control this. Oh, okay. We get a bit of a movie. It's not like a full-length, long movie, but it's a movie nonetheless. It's a Disney animated movie, for a special in a sense. But it's from our old pals Phineas and Ferb. By the way, just a harsh, contrast from what I just watched to this. Phineas and Ferb, the movie, Across the Second Dimension. Yeah. All right. This will be hopefully much funnier than this. Oh, you would hope. It's not a hard bar to get over. Phineas and Ferb, the movie, Across the Second Dimension, on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.